That would do it. That would do it.
Hi, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you too.
Just want to remind you that these are live streaming now, so
Okay, perfect, perfect. Thanks for letting me know. Should we announce it? Only one battery. I'd like to. Good evening. Is this working? Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting of October 23rd, 2018 to order. We're going to go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Intuk, can you please lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance? Everyone rise, please.
Everyone stand. Right hand over your heart. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance.
Thank you. Board Secretary, can you please call the roll?
Virginia Baxter. Here. Vivian Malauulu.
Here.
Uduak Joe Intuk.
present.
Doug Otto.
Here.
And Sunny Zia.
Here.
And student trustee Danelle Jones is.
I believe he's out. So item 2.4, report on closed session items. In closed session, item 1.3 on the agenda, the board voted 5 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstaining. As a result, the board approved the release of the dean, student affairs, and his reassignment to dean, student support services. The vote of each board member was Sunny Zia, aye. Vivian Malauulu, aye. Uduak Joe Intuk, aye. Douglas Otto, aye. Virginia Baxter, aye. Item 2.5, approval of minutes of the September 12th, 2018 regular Board of Trustees meeting and September 21, 2018 retreat special meeting. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Moved by Trustee Intuk, seconded by Trustee Baxter. Madam Secretary, can you please call the vote?
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak Joe Intuk.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
Sunny Zia.
Aye. Item 2.6, Superintendent President's Report. Dr. Scott will be presenting on behalf of Superintendent President Dr. Romali tonight. Dr. Scott?
Thank you, President Zia. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate Alexander Castro, who has served as a custodian here for 8 years, and he will be retiring, so we'd like to congratulate him on his retirement. He was not able to be with us tonight, but we are still very pleased for him and congratulate him. Okay. It's an honor for me to be here tonight to represent Dr. Romali, and I have a few announcements. Firstly, there was on September 26th, we held the College Promise 2.0 announcement celebration. Dr. Romali was joined by Mayor Garcia, Dr. Jane Connolly, Superintendent Steinhauser, President Zia, and Port of Long Beach President Igoscu in announcing the College 2.0 promise. What is unique about 2.0 is it provides a guaranteed admission for our students who complete 45 units transferable to CSU, and our students will receive counseling from both LBCC counselors as well as academic advisors at Cal State Long Beach. We were also very pleased to be interviewed by the Long Beach Business Journal. President Zia was, and I was as well, and so we're expecting a nice article. And Dr. Munoz, Marcia Parker, and I will be going to Cal State Long Beach on Wednesday to further work on this initiative. We are very pleased to be notified that in the 16-17 academic year, we were 7th in the state in the awarding of ADT degrees and 4th in the state in the growth of ADTs. This was for the 16-17 academic year, and we will, as such, be awarded, and we will be given an award at the 3rd Annual Champions for Higher Education, and that will be held in Los Angeles on December 4th. We were also very pleased to open the Welcome Centers at both campuses. Welcome Center grand openings were held on September 5th at PCC and September 6th at LAC. The hours of our Welcome Centers are Monday through Thursday, 8 to 6, and Fridays, 8 to 5. The Welcome Centers serve both community members interested in becoming LBCC students as well as current LBCC students. At the request of Speaker Anthony Rendon's office, LBCC was the site of the October 9th meeting of the California Assembly Blue Ribbon Commission on Early Childhood Education. Prior to the hearing, the commissioners toured our PCC Child Development Center, spending a very long time there and asking many questions. They thought they were very impressed with our center. The commission hearing was held in our boardroom at LAC, and President Zia provided welcoming remarks. We're also very pleased to announce that the National Security Agency and Department of Homeland Security have designated Long Beach City College as a National Center of Academic Excellence in Cyber Defense as a 2-year education institution through the academic year 2023. This is a huge honor, and we're only one of 2 in the state. This designation is based on our ability to meet the increasing demands of the program criteria that will serve the nation, as well as contribute to the protection of the national information infrastructure. The program addresses the critical shortage of professionals with skills in this area and highlights the importance of higher education as a solution to defending America's cyberspace. Certificates will be presented during a designation ceremony on November 7th at the National Institute for Cybersecurity Education at that conference in Miami, Florida. We were very pleased to have a Health Professions Career Summit last week. It was held on Thursday at LAC. We had 167 guests who attended, and this included students from LBCC, Long Beach Unified, ABC Unified, Linwood Unified, and other schools across the region. It was an opportunity for LBCC and high school students to learn about the steps needed to prepare for becoming a physician, pharmacist, dentist, physical therapist, or related healthcare professional. The panelists included representatives from UCLA's David Geffen School of Medicine, the Claremont Colleges, Western University of Health Sciences, and the panel also included two of our instructors, Dr. David Gale of our Life Science Department and Dr. Marlon Jones of our Chemistry Department. Last Friday, we were very, very pleased to have the Meet the Social Sciences Night. It was a huge success. 400 to 450 attendees were there, and it was fabulous. I was there, and I was very excited to be there. It was a free, educational, family-friendly community event that involved interactive social sciences games, activities, displays, discussions, hosted by faculty and students from multiple areas across LBCC's Social Sciences Department. It featured our departments, such as anthropology, history, philosophy, political science, psychology, and sociology. The inaugural event had a theme of change the world using social sciences. Some of the highlights included film screenings, a solve the murder forensic anthropology activity. Students got to mingle with our social science alumni. They had a game room with board games created by LBCC students. It was an opportunity to take a personality test. There were displays of prehistoric art and cave paintings, a sociological activity, paper jack-o'-lantern, and free ice cream, pizza, and music. On our agenda tonight during the Academic Senate section will be our new awards for IGETC, which is UC, and CSU GE certification. We're particularly happy to see these on here and want to thank the faculty, most notably our Senate President Jorge Ochoa and our curriculum chair Wendy Koenig for their leadership. This went through very quickly. The awards were written by the counseling faculty, and we're grateful to them also. If we had had these last year, it would have given us another 923 completions and would have made a big difference. So we're very happy that those were fast-tracked through and thankful for the faculty leadership. We're also very happy to see the certificate and degree in the welding area. It's been a long time coming, and we're very pleased to see it. And also the Intro to Gender Studies, which is the class for our ADT in social justice, which will allow us to go forward with that very important ADT. Budget town hall meetings were held at LEC on September 24th and PCC September 27th, updating the campus on current budget and funding formula changes. LBCC's Alumni Hall of Fame was held October 17th at the Grand in Long Beach. The honorees included Long Beach Vice Mayor Dee Andrews, Seal Beach Police Commander Stephen Bowles, community volunteer and our very own emeritus Dr. John Philpa, and founder and co-executive director of Learning Rights Law Center, Janine Steele. These four join an elite group of 180 LBCC alumni and pillars of the community. Dr. O'Malley attended the following foundation events, including the Hall of Fame inductees lunch reception, the Board of Governors breakfast meeting, and the Board of Governors Executive Committee meeting. The vice presidents attended the Hall of Fame banquet on her behalf, but we were very pleased to have a video from Dr. O'Malley talking about how she's in China adopting another child. We have rolled out the new Athletic Viking logo. The new logo was created to reflect LBCC's history and pride and builds on the original mascot from 1927. Winter and Spring 19 registration efforts are underway. We have moved up our registration dates in order to hold, well, for many reasons, but one of them, in order to hold re-enrollment lab events. These labs are staffed with counselors who are there to assist students in helping to identify courses and work through the registration process. This process, these registrations labs were very successful as we worked on summer 18 after the cyber incident, and we had the biggest summer we've ever had, and we hope to see similar results from these. We have faculty forums scheduled for November 5th at LAC 1:30 to 3:30 in T1200, and November 6th at PCC from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock in GG 238. The topic for these faculty forums is recent legislation and will include AB 705, the funding formula, and how academic affairs and student support services are addressing the needs to ensure that we're successful going forward, and the online college, and AB 19. And last, but of great importance to us, is that we're very pleased to be presenting tonight our new preferred name process. Dr. Munoz will be presenting that, and it has Dr. Romali's full support. I won't give the details about it because we do have a full presentation, but we're very pleased to have that presentation tonight. And thank you very much. I appreciate your patience. It's been a very busy month, and thank you.
Great job, Dr. Scott. Item 2.8, student trustee report. Paolo, would you like to come to the podium? I'm sorry, did Donnell send you the report, or?
No, he didn't send me anything.
Okay, I got you. Go ahead and give your report, Paolo. I apologize.
It's all So good
Made a
evening,
mistake.
everyone. I just want to go through our past events that we did in ASB. So last October 16th and 18th at LAC and PCC respectively, the Wellness Fest event provided services and information regarding our students' health. And the ASB cabinet partnered with Vote Crew to bring awareness to the students, faculty, and staff for the national voters registration. On October 17th, I just want to express it was such an honor to be part of the Hall of Fame reception and meeting our honorees, or the inductees rather. We also had the homecoming event last October 28th, wherein we had like 7 participants are fighting for the homecoming king, queen, and the royal monarch, and we also had the chance to watch the game. 14 student leaders came to the California Community College Student Affairs Association from October 19th to the 21st. The purpose of this conference was for us to network with colleges from the North and South California, with about 500 students in attendance, which comprised of student body presidents, trustees, advisors, and other members of their board, with the theme of Rise Together and Take Action and Advocate. If I can request the Board of Trustees for the next meeting, if I can present the things that we learned during this conference, together with the conference that we will have on the next weekend, which will be the Student Senate for California Community Colleges, that will be held at the Ontario Convention Center, wherein, as the delegate of the Long Beach City College, I will be voting for 6 resolutions. For our upcoming events, we will have the Halloween at PCC from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., wherein we welcome the kids from our community, students, faculty, and staff to participate in wearing Halloween costumes. We will also be having a holiday food drive from November 1st to the 20th. I want also to let everyone know that we will have the Beverly O'Neill Leadership Conference that will be on November 16th from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. I just also want to bring up to the board, I want to address a concern by student leaders and students that volunteer to sit on district committees. We feel that agendas are being posted less than 24 hours. This is very difficult to students to voice research and provide proper feedback from our constituents, the student body. I feel that it is an effective way of shared governance. This year, moving forward, I have been working diligently with several district committee chairs to be transparent and to provide information to our students who are volunteering and be fully aware of what is being discussed. So this year, I'm trying my best to put every a student voice to every district committee that has been provided for us. So I just really want to be participative and put our student voice. And I feel like we are students first, but if we want to have a great feedback from us, we want to do our research. We want to have that 3 days or 72 hours just to review the things that we have to discuss on that meeting. Also, for announcements, with all the changes in ASB, we managed to complete our full cabinet board by October 1st. And with that said, I would like for all of them to introduce themselves, their positions, their majors, and the school that they want to transfer to. So, you guys stand up. So I want to start the ball rolling. So my name is John Paulo Canteras. I am a psychology major. My position is the ASB president, and I would like to transfer to UCLA or UCI or whatever UC that will take me.
Yeah, come up to the mic.
Good afternoon. My name is Ian Rubenstein. I'm the PCC Club Senate president, and I'm double majoring in sociology and political science, hoping to transfer to either Columbia or University of Pittsburgh.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alyssa Jones. I am the representative of Student Success and Equity. I am a double major of public policy and sociology, and I am actually also hoping to transfer to Columbia and or UCSD. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lucas Muniz. My major is kinesiology, and I'm rep for athletics. And my main school is Cal State Dominguez Hills. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name's Kendall Tisby. I'm rep of ESL. My major is public health right now, and my goal is to transfer to San Diego State.
In case one or two you may not know who I am. My name is Wayne Bergman. I'm back. I actually finished my bachelor's, and I'm applying for government positions, and the VA said, you still have some time left if you want to go back to school. So I'm back this semester. I've been asked to be the rep for veterans. And so as some of you might know, I'm a very passionate person about veteran issues. And my next goal is graduate work. And I'm a new father.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jaron Leary. I'm the LEC Vice President. I'm a triple major, psychology, sociology, and library technician. My goal is to become a professor or a private psychiatrist for children or adolescents. And the universities I want to transfer to is Cal State Long Beach, Monterey Bay, or LA. Thank you. Have a wonderful night.
Hello, board. My name is Andrew Mervis. I am a second-year student here. I'm the rep of career education and a engineering student. I'd really quick like to extend a thank you to Dr. Mike Munoz. My constituents were very, very, very happy about the name change, and I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Paulo.
All right. Yeah, I just want to mention just some of the CAB members that are not here. So, because I have like a lot of people who are not here, I just want to have them a shout out. Our PCC Vice President is Jenny Nguyen. Our ASB Treasurer is Nash Neira. Our ASB Secretary is Amber Sollenberger. Our Student Trustee is Donald Jones. LEC Club Senate President is Heidi Alsen-Jack. Rep of Student Services, Edwin Martinez. Rep of Arts, Alexis Martinez. Rep of Sustainability, Drew Boulay. And Rep of DSPS, Caitlin Wood. Rep of Evening Students, Joey Lawrence. And Rep of Health and Wellness, Jocelyn Reyes. And that's about it. I have like 21 cabinet members in total. Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Paulo. Okay, we will now move on to item 2.9, LBCCFA, bargaining presence, since the student trustee's report will be deferred to the next meeting. We're just going to skip over that item. Janae, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Janae Hund, LBCCFA president, and good evening, President Zia, board members, vice presidents, faculty, staff, students, and community members. Great to hear all those social science majors. Just a shout out to all the faculty who worked really hard and collaboratively in putting together the Meet the Social Sciences Night. I do want to state we had 8 alumni who came out. Let's see, one from UC that's transferred to UC San Diego, one that's transferred to UC LA, couple Cal State LA, one Cal State Dominguez Hills, and one Cal State Long Beach. It was really a great opportunity for them to come back and give back to their alma mater, who they love dearly. And I think Trustee Uduak-Ntuk and Malauulu were out, and thank you for coming to support our disciplines. Second, I just want to state that many faculty are participating in the Starfish Early Alert program. I know myself, I am doing that. It's a great opportunity for us to identify students who might need some extra assistance early on before it is too late. So I look forward to more possibilities with Starfish. Third, just to echo what Dr. Scott has already mentioned, we are partnering with the administration and with Senate for the 2 faculty forums in November. So just a chance for faculty to participate, ask questions, and maybe give some answers as well to regarding recent legislation such as AB 705 and the new funding formula. Let's see, my last thing I want to mention is in the last month we had a few events put on by Suman Mudanuri. She's our Faculty Association Equity Chair, and she called the events Our Fullest Name. These were attended by about 30 faculty who had a chance to learn about one another and our names, and it was an awesome opportunity just to have some fun with faculty outside of our own disciplines. That's about it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Janae. Item 2.10, AFD Bargaining President, Susan Trask. Welcome, Susan.
Good evening, President Zia, Dr. Scott, trustees and vice president, community staff. My report this evening is short. AFT is working very closely with HR, assisting the employees with the transition and all the changes that the SERP has left us with. We're massaging it, letting everybody know it's going to be okay. We're going through little changes, but it's all good. It's a little late, but I just wanted to report on Professional Development Day that we had last month. It went really well. I had a great attendance. And we're currently planning our holiday party, which for the last several years we've held off campus in the evening, and we're going to bring it back to a luncheon and bring it on campus so we can have more involvement with our classified staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan. Item 2.11, CHI Bargaining President, Karen Roberts. Welcome back, Karen. Good to have you.
Good evening, Dr. Scott and Board President Zia. And I'm Karen Roberts, CHI President, and I just thought I'd give you a brief report on the part-time faculty. So I don't have an exact count, but we've hired about 130 new part-time faculty this semester. That probably brings us close to about 670 part-time faculty for this semester. We had a really good turnout at both part-time faculty orientation and college day. I know those happened way back in August. But I owe a belated thank you to Dr. Scott. She organized a very successful part-time faculty orientation. One of the things that we did differently that was Dr. Scott's idea is a peer panel where part-time faculty and some full-time faculty were presenting and discussing like how to create a friendly syllabus or just some tools that they use in the classroom. So it was like a mini professional development session that sort of gave us more tools to take into the classroom as we all work towards student success. I'm always surprised at the number of part-time faculty who come out for College Day because we're not paid to be here for College Day, so it's really great to see them. I always think they're very dedicated to come out. At our constituent meeting, we had a really good discussion about CHI. At this college, CHI is a separate constituent group from full-time faculty and classified faculty unions. And that's not true at most community colleges. Most community colleges are what we call wall-to-wall. It's full-time faculty and part-time faculty all in one chapter. And so a lot of times a part-time faculty can depend on the full-time faculty to be negotiating on their behalf. their contracts are combined, but that's not true for us. We do our own negotiations, we have our own team, we have our own bylaws, we have our own executive board. So we try to impress this upon part-time faculty in hopes that they can get involved with us, since we're responsible for all of our own stuff, basically. Now, having said that, we have 2 upcoming workshops for part-time faculty that I want to announce tonight. These workshops are going to focus on Article 8 in the CHI contract, and this is a new article. It's actually called Assignment Rights and Reemployment Preference. So this is brand new here at Long Beach City College. This is state legislation. It allows for some seniority rights for those part-timers who have been here consistently teaching with satisfactory evaluations over a period of time. So all of this rolls out in the spring semester, and I know there are departments who have already been implementing the assignment request form. This is also a new way to assign classes. So, like I said, this is all new, and we're hoping for a really smooth transition. We spent hours at the table on this. So the first workshop is this Wednesday evening. I've already put out announcements about this last week. But Wednesday evening at 5 p.m. in K102. And then the second one is Tuesday, November 30th at noon in building GG room 238 at PCC. So we encourage part-time faculty to attend and learn something about this new language in their contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Item 2.12, reordering of the agenda. We will be hearing item 4.1 first. Item 3.1 will be deferred to the last item after 8.5, I believe. So item 2.13, let me just make sure I'm not making a mistake here. Yeah, it'll be heard after. Item 3.1 would be heard after item 8.5. Item 2.13, public comments on agenda items. The public is allowed to address the board before or during the consideration of any item on the agenda. A total of 3 minutes will be allotted to each speaker with a maximum of 20 minutes to each subject, unless extended by the board president. I don't believe I saw any cards come in.
Yes.
Okay, before I move on to item 4.1, I believe we have a resolution that we wanted to present before the presentation. That's what I was told. So if we can have Dr. Munoz, why don't you introduce who we have in the crowd, our special guests, and then we'll go ahead and present the resolution prior to the presentation.
Thank you, Board President Zia. In the audience tonight, we have with us the Executive Director of the Center Long Beach, as well as the Youth Service Manager of the Center Long Beach. So may I ask Porter Gilbert and Joel Geminote to join us?
If the Board of Trustees can also join me in presenting this resolution for a photo, that would be fantastic. Sorry, Jeannie. I just didn't want to be the only person who presented it. All right, Dr. Munoz, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you again, President Zia, members of the Board of Trustees, members of the administration, campus leadership, members of the campus community. My name is Mike Munoz. Is that better? My name is Mike Munoz, and I will be presenting an update to the Board of Trustees on our LGBTQ plus resources and support services tonight. So let's begin with a brief overview of what we're going to cover at tonight's presentation. In a moment, we'll start off with introductions. There are some folks in the audience with us tonight that contributed to tonight's presentation, and so we'll be at different moments asking them to step up to the podium and address the board. After we start with introductions, we'll move on to really situating ourselves and anchoring ourselves in our presentation tonight in the recognition and support of our Board of Trustees for our LGBTQ students, specifically regarding the resolution that was passed at last month's board meeting and some of the key supports that were outlined in the resolution. From there, we'll move on to highlighting our collaboration with the Center of Long Beach, as well as having our team members from the Center of Long Beach share a little bit more about what they offer at the Center of Long Beach and how we are working and collaborating together. From there, we'll talk a little bit more about understanding LGBTQ students here at LBCC and looking specifically at some of our data, our local data, both in terms of demographics as well as course success. From there, we're going to transition to our new preferred name process implementation, which Dr. Scott highlighted in her remarks, and go a little bit more detail of what that process looks like and how it's being implemented here at LBCC. And lastly, we'll conclude with highlighting some of our campus resources and talking a little bit about next steps and where we plan on going. So I think it's really important to recognize that at last month's Board of Trustees meeting on September 12th, the Board of Trustees passed a resolution recognizing LGBTQ History Month. And within that resolution, the LBCC made some declarative commitments, which include not only a commitment to equitable learning and achievement for all students, but really recognizing LGBTQ students within that kind of statement of equitable learning and achievement for all students. So I can share anecdotally, one of the student leaders on campus, who's the president of QueerSpace, approached me and said, you know, it really meant a lot to hear that in this language that you're calling out LGBT students. It's not just we serve all students and then maybe slip LGBTQ students in the declarative, but it's really bringing it to the forefront of the discussions. And so that was really a positive thing to hear from one of our student leaders. Another commitment that was made was the implementation of an LGBTQ safe zone ally training for faculty and staff. So recognizing that our faculty and staff have the most interaction oftentimes with our students. And so really giving them tools in which they can serve as allies in that capacity. Providing gender neutral restrooms that can be used by all gender identities and expressions. Implementing a preferred name process, which you'll hear about more shortly, as well as strengthening collaboration with the Center of Long Beach, which you'll hear about more shortly. And lastly, participating with thousands in the annual Long Beach Pride Parade and really bringing LBCC's presence to the forefront in that parade. I've included the link, so any member of the public can click on that link and be directly linked to the resolution that was passed, okay? But again, just reminding the campus community that this really work was situated in the board's position last month. So with that said, I'm really excited to share that we have been really working at strengthening our collaboration with the Center of Long Beach. And so on September 25th, there was a meeting that was held at the center led by Dr. Romali. I had the privilege of attending, as well as Marcia Parker and Lorena Corbell, who is our student president of QueerSpace. And folks from the center that were present was Porter Gilberg, Joel Gemino, Miyoko Faley, and Antonio Leverman. And so we discussed opportunities in which we could collaborate. And so beyond getting this tour of an amazing center, really started to have some deep conversations, not only around how we should be thinking about implementing preferred name process, but technical assistance that can be provided from reviewing some of our other processes to make sure that we don't have any blind spots, right? There's no, oftentimes there's some unintentionality that happens when you build business processes and workflows, but we wanted to make sure that we're able to have some experts review some of our content on our websites and whatnot to give us feedback. We also talked about maybe potentially offering some non-credit classes on site, as well as bringing some LBCC application and matriculation support directly to the center. So with that said, I'd like to invite up Porter to the dais, to the podium to share a little bit more about what the center has to offer and how we can partner together.
So thank you so much again to everybody at LBCC. I'm just going to set that beautiful resolution there for a second. For your support again, my name is Porter. I'm the executive director at the LGBTQ Center Long Beach, and I'm joined by Joel Jamino, our youth services manager. And I know Long Beach City College is a place for all students to come and learn and thrive, but especially coming out of our youth program, creating a safe and supportive environment is incredibly important for LGBTQ students. We know that nearly 80% of youth participating in our services report experiencing verbal harassment in K-12 schools. We know that a number of our students participating in our services do not attend K-12 school because of the harassment they experience, and nearly 1 in 5 students participating in our services have been physically assaulted on a school campus. So coming into Long Beach City College, you all have a tremendous opportunity to create a new, supportive, affirming learning environment. And so we are so honored and so proud to partner with you, not just on the implementation of the new preferred name policy, but also in creating additional opportunities for equity to really create the most incredible, affirming learning environment. I know as somebody who attended LBCC, it was a world of difference from the small town I experienced growing up in. So we are just incredibly thankful for the partnership and proud to be here today. And to tell you a little bit more about our collaboration and partnership, I'm going to turn it over to Joel.
Hi, thank you for having us today. We are so excited, and I would just like to share a quick story. When we heard on September 25th that this was going to be happening, this preferred name policy, on September 26th, I went ahead and called one of the youth that we've been working with for a few years, who told me that they were unable to register to go to school, to go to the nursing program here, because they would not be able to use they were afraid of being outed or having to out themselves to each one of their teachers. And I called them on the 26th, and I could hear through the phone the tears they had. The tears of joy that they had that they were going to be safe and supported here, and that there was an administration that had their back. So I want to thank you, and I wanted to share that with you, because this is not just this one student that you're doing this for. This is so many students in our community. And moving forward with our collaboration, we are so excited to not only collaborate on your safe zone trainings for allies and for your ally training for staff and faculty, but we're also so excited to bring our resources to you and then share your resources with us with the non-credit classes. We also, so at the center, we have a number of different support services for LGBTQ transitional age youth, including case management, support groups, our 20-somethings group, a transverse youth group as well. We also have HIV and STI testing completely for free. And we can also help with, because we know that our LGBTQ students experience exceptionally high rates of violence, harassment, and homelessness, we can also help both with linkage to housing, jobs, as well as legal support for any victims of hate crimes, and with legal name and gender changes should they wish. So we are happy to bring all of those resources and collaborate with you on what the best strategies to make our schools and our community as safe as possible. Thank you.
Again, thank you, and I can't iterate enough how supportive they were in this process and the development of our preferred name process, as well as kind of just thinking about how we can collaborate to create that safe and affirming learning environment. So we're going to take a little bit of time to kind of think about how we understand our LGBTQ students here at Long Beach City College. Much of this was situated in the passaging of Assembly Bill 1018. So back in October 2017, legislation was passed which required California community colleges to add lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender as a demographic within the application process, and as well as measuring them for disproportionate impact. So with that, some changes occurred with OpenCCC Apply, and so from that point on, when students apply to the college, that is a question that is asked of them, and it's optional, and data is collected. And so we were able to do a preliminary data analysis of the first 2 cohorts entering since the law has been passed to see essentially, one, from the demographic standpoint, what does it look like in terms of our population, of our LGBTQ identified population here at Long Beach City College, and 2, start to measure disproportionate impact, looking at course success, looking at course completion, looking at degree completion, these different milestones to make sure that our students are not experiencing disproportionate impact. So to share a little bit about our current data that we have access to, again, CCC Apply provides 6 options to students that they can choose from. And based on those options, they are straight, lesbian, gay, bisexual, other, null, and declined to state. As well as, so those are for sexual orientation. And then we have 2 for gender. They offer transgender, not transgender, excuse me, null, and declined to state. So for gender identity. And so when we look at the data, what we see is 71% from fall 2017 entering cohort identified as straight, and roughly 3% identified themselves as lesbian, gay. Another 2% identified themselves as bisexual, and 1% identified themselves as other. 23% intentionally did not respond to the question. So that was a large number in the data set. So when we're looking at some of the limitations with the data, again, about 23% of the respondents intentionally did not respond. When we look at gender identity, about 68% of the students identified as cisgender, and less than 1% identified as transgendered, with a large number of students declining to state as well. And so that is some limitations in the data set that we're looking at, is how to make students feel more comfortable to disclose and their sexual orientation or gender identity, so that we can, again, better serve these students. And so that's part of the conversations that we're having with institutional effectiveness, as well as some of the other groups on campuses that can help inform that discussion. When we look at course success, and we are, again, trying to measure for disproportionate impact, when we look at the completion rate between our course completion rates between our lesbian, gay, and bisexual students is roughly at about 52%. When we compare that to our straight and heterosexual students, it's about 53%. So although it is about a % difference, it's not considered significant statistically. And then when we do the similar analysis for our transgender students, we're seeing that the sample is it's too small to draw any significant conclusions. But again, something that we're going to continue to monitor and make sure that if there is disproportionate impact, we're doing whatever we need to do to make sure that we're deploying resources and strategies and solutions to close those achievement gaps. So it is something that we're going to continue to monitor and examine. So now as we transition to our preferred name process and implementation, as it was mentioned earlier, upon feedback from Trustee Intug, as well as some feedback with conversations with the center, it was determined that we really needed to examine as a college our preferred name process. So I'm excited to report that our process is currently being implemented as we speak, so students can essentially log into their Viking self-service and update their preferred name. This was really a cross-functional approach. I was able to convene a meeting both with IT, admissions and records, student affairs. We had a student representative from QueerSpace present to have a conversation of what it would look like to begin to implement a preferred name process. And so now that we have one, what changes are the students going to experience? So what you can see is our class rosters are updated with the preferred name. So to that point of a safe and open and affirming environment, if your gender identity, if you see yourself and your name is Carolina, but your legal name is Carlos, and you're in class and the instructor says Carlos, right, calling you out, that puts an exposure on the student. And so that's no longer going to be an issue, because if the student updates their preferred name prior to the start of school, their preferred name will appear on the class roster. Canvas. So again, we were really intentional to think about many of the student interfacing platforms that students will be using to make sure their preferred name is present. So Canvas will reflect the preferred name. Starfish will reflect the preferred name. PeopleSoft emails from instructors, so when instructors email students, it will reflect the preferred name. And then lastly, our Viking ID card. So again, really key pieces of technology platforms or applications, or your ID card, which is not technology but still very important towards your student identity, will reflect the preferred name. There are some limitations regarding legal, where legal name is still required to be used, and so on the academic transcripts, legal names will still be used, as well as financial aid forms and documents, excuse me. Those will still maintain the preferred name. So I want to give you kind of just a snapshot of what the experience would be like for students, because again, this is a departure. Normally, we require students to fill out forms, stand in a 2 or 3 hour line, depending upon the time of year, to turn in a form to enrollment services, and it can just not be always the most positive student experience. So we took a large step forward and decided to allow this process to live through Viking Student Self-Serve. So a student in 3 simple steps from home or here on campus can log into Viking Students system through lbcc.edu, click on that names button, which you see a screenshot of, and update their preferred name, and hit save, and essentially almost instantaneously the system will update to their preferred name. Some of the platforms such as Canvas or Starfish, there's about a 24-hour lag before the name is updated, because those routines run nightly, but it's a very quick turnaround. And so again, not putting the student in a position where they have to go and turn in a form and out themselves in front of a staff member, but from the privacy of their own home, they can update, or any device on campus, they can update their preferred name. And in closing, we do want to spend a few moments sharing with you some of the campus resources. So again, thinking about the resolution that was passed and some of the elements within the resolution about the commitments that LBCC is making to serving LGBTQ students, we essentially went forward and developed this new website. And I'm very proud to share this, because to get a new website up and running in like a week is pretty phenomenal. And I have to give a big shout out to Mohammed Wright, because he worked really closely with me and others on this. I really appreciate it and want to acknowledge his efforts. So here's our new our brand new website. It's located under the resource tab. So if you go to the LBCC homepage and hover over resources, you'll see LGBTQ resources now listed. So for example, if you hover over here, you'll see right here now, this newest tab, LGBTQ resources. So as we scroll down, and again, mind you, this was put together from the last board meeting. So this is an iterative process, so we're going to be improving on it, but we felt that it was important to launch this new website in conjunction with the preferred name process, as well as with tonight's presentation. So the first thing is the resolution that the board adopted is right there in hyperlink for any student or community member to click on. We have an LGBTQ terminology page, so we were going to think about building resources and faculty and staff resources on this part of the column here. So if you click here alphabetically, you'll start to see a list of definitions for by alphabet that you can click on. So you can just click on here and see different types of definitions that relate to building awareness around LGBTQ terminology. But I'm going to go ahead and go back. And as we scroll down, we have the new campus resources. So if we click here, Queer Space is highlighted as a student organization where students can receive support on campus. We thought about scholarship opportunities. And so now we have, thanks to our scholarship office, they worked on developing and identifying some key scholarships that are available for LGBTQ students. And then mental health and wellness, and really kind of just creating an open and affirming space for students and letting them know that there's resources here if they need support with dealing with coming out or any types of transitions that they may be experiencing. So as they transition into college and deal with identity. So we highlight those services. As we go back to here, we have our preferred name process page that highlights how students can update their preferred name. So the steps, as well as frequently asked questions. How can I set my preferred name? Will I be able to get a new college service ID card? So we're very proud to say that students updating their ID cards to reflect their gender identity may have a free one-time update. So we're not charging them to replace their cards. So again, we're being very thoughtful and intentional about how we create this opening and affirming space. So, and then lastly, the last tab that we have is LGBTQ resources in the community. And so here we're proud to highlight the center at Long Beach, as well as some information about coming out and sexual health. So here we highlight some of the different resources within the city of Long Beach for STI testing and whatnot. So coming out, we're highlighting different resources around identity resources and gender specific and sexuality specific. So you can see we really, in a very short amount of time, worked to build this comprehensive website, and we will continue to improve upon it. We are committed to adding a faculty and staff tab that will provide tools for faculty and staff on how to create an affirming classroom environment, as well as any other additional supports that might be targeted for our faculty and staff who may be part of the LGBTQ community. So that concludes my report, and we'll go back to the PowerPoint. And any questions?
Did you want to say something about the queer space, our student?
Unfortunately, our student president was scheduled to be here tonight. Her name is Lorena Carbell. And obviously she's not here to come up and speak, but I do want to acknowledge her. She attended probably 4 meetings that we had regarding the preferred name process and the development of the website. She reviewed and also helped develop some of the content for the website. So I think I was really proud that this was a really nice joint effort between the administration and student leadership to make sure that that perspective was included as we were developing these resources and materials.
Okay, great. Questions, board members, comments? Did you want to say something, Trustee Ntuk?
Somebody else wants to go, I'll go. First, I just want to say thank you, Dr. Munoz, for your leadership. When you first were announced, I got a couple of unsolicited calls. Man, you took our best guy. He's really awesome. You're going to be so thankful to have him. And you fully delivered on that. And I really just want to say how happy and excited I am to work with you. And you've just been a great leader on campus. And thank you for taking the torch and taking the leadership on this. I want to thank Porter and Joel. We had a midday meeting back in August of what can we do together? What's going on? And we first talked about this. We thought, well, maybe it's a 1-year, maybe 2-year process. But to figure out that we could get it done before the end of the year and get the support from Dr. Romali and Dr. Munoz and from the board members, it really is amazing. I think sense of partnership, to hear such a collaborative process that we included faculty, that we included students, that we weren't just rushing with one idea, but making sure that we had everybody's ideas included. I think is a really powerful example of what we can do together here on campus. And I'm just really, really thankful. And I think it's a great demonstration to students or folks who are watching online today, where Long Beach City College stands, and the irony of some of the federal action that is happening to go backwards, that we're taking a stand and going forward and saying that we are inclusive for everybody and not trying to erase anyone out of our community. So I just want to say thank you to the center, thank you to the board, thank you Dr. Munoz and Dr. Romali for all your leadership and support, and look forward to continue to work together.
Thank you, Trustee Ntuk. I too want to echo your comments, and again, thank you for your leadership. You were the one who really led this effort, and I commend you. It's fantastic that you took this on and brought it to our attention and took it to a whole nother level. So thank you for your leadership. I also wanted to thank you, Dr. Munoz, our incredible staff, Superintendent President Dr. Romali, and the leadership, and of course our center. I'm very proud that we're working with you. I'm so excited to hear the story you shared, Joel, and if it's okay, I'd love to personally meet the student that shared the story and give the student a hug and some love, and that, it's definitely an era where we are, unlike what's happening nationally and at the administration, we are taking different approach, and we're trying to lead by example and take leadership in this front that really badly needs it. So with that, I don't think anybody else wants to comment. Oh, Trustee Otto.
Yeah, very quickly, congratulations. And I'm just blown away about how quickly you were able to pull all this together, not only because it was such a monumental effort that had to be done, but you'd only been here a couple of months. And so it shows great leadership and great effort. We're delighted to have you here, and congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you. We will now move on to item 3.2, approval of 2019 calendar of board meetings. This will be an action, and the recommended action is that the Board of Trustees approve the 2019 calendar of board meetings as submitted per California Education Code 72,000 C4. The governing board of any community college district shall hold regular monthly meetings and shall by rule and regulation fix the time and place for its regular meetings.
What happened to 3.1?
It got deferred to after 8.5. I announced it earlier. To ensure that the Board of Trustees of the Long Beach Community College District is providing ample opportunity to members to engage with community members at various local city council meetings, and to ensure that the taxpayers and public have ample opportunity to engage with the Board of Trustees at public meetings that are not in conflict with other local public meetings, the Board of Trustees hereby presents the following meeting dates for the 2019 year. These dates reflect meetings that will be held on the fourth Thursday evening of the month, unless noted, with an open session at 6 p.m. and closed session if needed at 5 p.m. It changed from past meetings in 2018 and prior that were held on Tuesday evenings. Ample communications will be distributed to ensure the campus and local community are aware of this change. The regular meetings convene as follows. Closed session will be at 5 p.m. if needed. Open session will start at 6 p.m. 2019 meeting dates will be January 24th at PCC, GG 238, February 28th, March 28th, April 25th, May 23rd, June 27th, July 25th, August 22nd, September 12th, October 24th, November 21st, which would be the third Thursday, and December 12th, the second Thursday. Do I have a motion for this item?
So moved.
Trustee Otto, is there a second? Come on, guys. No second? All right. Vice President Malauulu, okay, is there any discussion, comments?
President Zia.
Yes, Trustee Baxter?
Yes, thank you. I read the whole agenda, and I don't know how I missed this particular item. So I have a comment to make. Almost every community activity is held on a Thursday night. So I wondered why was, first of all, who decided Thursday night, and why was Thursday? I understand wanting to get away from Tuesday. I understand that. But what is the rationale for going to Thursday when so many events are on a Thursday night?
I believe, Vice President Scott, I can answer that if you don't. I know did you want to take that question? Superintendent President Dr. Romali and her team did a research of all the different bodies in the districts around us, including different council and supervisorial seats. So they did a comparative analysis, and it looked like Thursday that was the only one that doesn't conflict with them, is my understanding. The reason it wasn't on a Wednesday or Monday is because board members had conflicts, and there was the school board conflict with the LBUSD meetings. Mondays is the Board of Harbor Commission meetings. So for my employer, I may need, it's a conflict for me. So I believe that was the analysis. That comparative analysis can be shared if you like. But if you, we could certainly discuss it. If you object to the Thursday, do you meetings? Do you have an alternative that you'd prefer?
No, I don't have
Trustee
an
Beck.
alternative, but there's a reason that all these community activities are on Thursday night is exactly what you said. But only the legislative bodies were looked at, the Board of Supervisors, the Harbor Commission, the Long Beach Unified, and the City Council. So they all meet on those 3 days for the reason that most activities are on Thursday nights, because nobody else meets on Thursday night. I happen to be somebody who goes to a lot of events on and community events, so I'm concerned about that, because obviously if I miss a meeting, that's my number one obligation is to this Board of Trustees. But I am concerned that this was presented. Was it presented at the September meeting and I missed it?
No, this is the first time, Trustee Baxter, but that's why we want to have the discussion, and you're certainly more than welcome to express your viewpoints, and we can decide as collectively as a body whether or not we want to pursue this. So would you like to recommend a different date?
See, in my foolishness, I think we should stay on Tuesday night because I don't think it's important for this board to go to the city council. But there are certain people on this board who obviously think that's very important. So, you know, my preference would be to stay on the Tuesday night like we've always done. However, you know, this is majority rule, and if the other 4 board members feel that Thursday is better, you know, I obviously will comply, and I obviously will be at the meetings.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else, Trustee Baxter? Can I move on to Vice President Malauulu?
I seconded this motion because I felt that you were looking for a second, given that nobody else was participating in that motion. However, I too am concerned about Thursday only because, you know, to be honest, personally, the thought of a Thursday night meeting of a governing body just sounds a little tough on a week. When you look at the week schedule, as you know, you get started on a weekend. Some places, like in the summer, we shut down in the summer, and the thought of having a Thursday night, some of our meetings have gone till 10 o'clock at night, and if you're not going to be here at work on Friday and you've planned some time away, I mean, me personally, it doesn't matter, but thinking of staff and staff having to be here on Fridays, you know, that just seems like a difficult day to plan such a heavy activity. As you know, for me, like I said, I'm going to be here no matter what, but there are other people involved. I also think that I have heard lots of times that there are people in Long Beach, because we do serve a city and a community that is really intertwined, and there's so many activities that happen. There have been lots of times where we've had city council members speak, and we've also had to attend council meetings for various issues. I remember last year the pool was an issue, and there was some conflict there. But as far as like with the Harbor Commission or Long Beach Unified, we can work around a Monday or a Wednesday. Because if they only meet, you know, the first and third Monday, then perhaps we can do the second and fourth Monday, or the first and third Wednesday, then we could meet the first and third Wednesday. So I don't know if I just said the same thing or not. But basically, I just think that a Thursday evening meeting sounds difficult for me, and to impose that on the community and students and people trying to go home. You know, I could just see our participation is a bit lackluster as it is on Tuesday. I could just see how that might affect a Thursday. So that's my opinion. I would prefer that we keep it to a Monday or a Wednesday and just work with the Harbor Commission and Long Beach Unified and alternate with them, because if we do have families or other residents in the community, at least they can have an option. Like this week, I'll go to the college board meeting, and next week I'll go to the school board meeting. And then you're kind of cutting everything off on Wednesday. You're not interfering with a lot of community activities on Thursday. Also, too, one other thing, sports. You know, there tends to be a lot more sports planned toward the end of the week, football games and a lot of other activities that happen with teams that have to travel. So it's just an imposition that we should consider. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, just for a sake of clarification, this was requested as a request of one board member. This was not my idea, and the majority, it was the majority's concurrence that we evaluate and task staff to come up with the day that works best for all the legislative calendars and then also for staff. So this is staff's recommendation. But at the same time, Mondays will not work for me. I can't. It's because of my employer. I can make Wednesdays work, but at the same time, I want to honor that board member's request. Since Trustee Intuk, you were the one who brought this to our attention. I want to give you an opportunity to give your comments if you like, and see what your preference is as well, and then also Trustee Otto.
Sure. First, no, it wasn't me that brought this agenda item. I believe it was Trustee Malulu back in August had requested it. It's not my request. I too am concerned. This is the first time we're having this discussion. I would have liked to see the analysis that the staff put together. There wasn't an attachment of the report or prior discussion after the introduction in the item. I heard there was a report, but I don't know. Beyond this, I would have liked to see the options of Monday, Wednesday, what other dates. I think Thursdays are also problematic, and would like to see kind of what was the analysis. But it wasn't my agenda request.
I understand. Both of you had asked me as the board president to look at this. So if whoever asked first, you had requested this, and I wanted to honor your request. Frankly, I asked everyone if there was any questions on this, and if you had questions and concerns about the background and the comparative analysis, you could have asked ahead of time of the meeting. So I would just ask that you please consider that in the future. If you do have some questions which are significant in this case, that you would ask the staff ahead of time so they can present you with what you're looking for. Trustee Otto, did you want to add something to the discussion?
I mean, it's all a surprise to me that this has been going on. It's the first I've heard of it. But my sense is if it's okay. My sense is if it's not broke, don't fix it. And it seems to be working out, or it's worked out historically on Tuesday nights, and there's good reason for this. I don't know how to debate it, but if there's been a study or some thinking about it, I haven't seen what that is or the rationale for it. So I'd rather not vote on adopting it tonight and try and get some more information.
Sure. So why don't we do this? I've heard everyone's I'm personally of the mindset that you shared, Trustee Otto and Trustee Baxter. I don't see a need to change it personally, but I wanted to honor board members' requests, and so what? Perhaps we can continue the item to November and have the analysis provided to everyone. Would that work?
President Zia?
Yes, Vice President.
If I may, if staff could consider keeping it on Tuesday, but just alternating it with the city council meeting, so at least there's no conflict there.
No, they meet
every Tuesday.
I don't know if there's a.
Actually, they don't meet the last Tuesday of the month.
There's an opportunity there to have some leeway with that, because that's really appears to be the only meeting that some people who have expressed concern to not be able to attend ours. But that's it. If they can consider keeping it on Tuesday, but just a different Tuesday, perhaps.
Okay, why don't we have this analyzed? So I hear you. Okay, do I have a motion to continue the item? Substitute motion, because we have a motion on the floor.
Why don't I just withdraw the motion, and or if you want me to.
We already have a second, so we either have to vote or take a substitute motion.
You can withdraw it under Robert's Rules of Order. Possible.
Substitute motion to continue.
Yeah, we want to do unless let's do the substitute motion to continue.
No, to continue to the next meeting.
Next meeting so we have proper analysis.
I do want to remind you, the reason why we were pushing to get this on, I was asking, was that we're headed to 2019 shortly. So we need to get it settled. Staff are asking for.
Yeah, this was a question. It was a prep. I wanted to put it on November's agenda so that Superintendent President Dr. Romali would be back. And so should we, all right, is there a substitute motion to continue the item to
Yes.
November? Or would you like to make the motion? Okay. Who'd like to second it? Second, Vice President Malauulu. So let's go ahead and, unless there's any more debate and discussion.
No debate, but just want to say I do support the idea of evaluating this and am open to looking at alternate dates. I just didn't get a chance to participate in the process. So I think it's a great idea to continue, and I hope maybe we have 2 or 3 options presented at the next meeting.
That's a very reasonable request, Trustee Ntuk, and we'll make sure that staff will help bring that analysis to the table for November. So, Madam Secretary, go ahead and call for the vote.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak Joe Ntuk.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
And Sunny Zia.
Aye. Okay, moving on to item 3.3, resolution, board members' absence. The recommended action is that the Board of Trustees adopt Resolution 1023-18A, authorizing compensation to board member Virginia Baxter for the meeting of September 12, 2018, from which she was absent as submitted. California Education Code Section 72024D provides that a member may be paid for any meeting when absent if the board, by resolution duly adopted and included in its minutes, finds that at the time of the meeting he or she is performing services outside the meeting for the community college district, he or she was ill or on jury duty, or the absence was due to a hardship deemed acceptable by the board. The compensation shall be a charge against the funds of the district. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Otto, seconded by Trustee Ntuk. Is there any discussion, comments? Let's go ahead and call for the vote.
Virginia Baxter.
Abstain.
Of course. Let me change that. Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak Joe Ntuk.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
And Sunny Zia.
Aye. Okay, we will now move on to consent agenda. I believe, is there a request to pull item 5.17 and 5.18? I have it
No,
marked
that's-
here.
That's for the student trustee that
Okay.
exempt from.
All right, then if there is no request to pull any items, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Otto, seconded by Trustee Ntuk. Questions, comments, discussion?
This is just a brief comment, and it's not necessarily about the motion. I just want to commend staff because I do see the changes that have been made to the consent reports, particularly budget items, and I really appreciate that. I think it alleviates a lot of questions. It eliminates a lot of questions and alleviates a lot of concerns that the public may have. Thank you for taking heed to our suggestions and our requests. The reports look the same, but the information and content is presented differently. So, when I look through the consent calendar, it's easier for me to understand as a layperson without really, math background. So I appreciate that, and I do look forward to, if we do have other concerns, I feel like the administration is very receptive and responsive to our request for clarity on the reports. So thank you very much for that.
Great. Thank you, Vice President Malauulu. Any other comments, questions before we take the vote? Madam Secretary, go ahead and call
Virginia
the vote.
Baxter.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak Joe Ntuk.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
And Sunny Zia.
Aye. Okay, we will now move on to item 6.1, new modified and activated courses. The recommended action is that the Board of Trustees approve the new modified and inactivated courses effective fall 2019 as submitted. These courses have been created, inactivated, or modified to meet Title V requirements to provide additional general education or program options to meet industry requirements and or to respond to advisory committee recommendations. New inactivated and modified courses were developed and approved by their respective college departments and schools. Modifications may include changes to course subjects, units, course description, course number, class size, maximum co-requisite or prerequisite. Documentation has been reviewed by the Course Evaluation Subcommittee and approved by the Committee on Curriculum and Instruction. Is there a report on this, or before I call for the motion?
No.
Is there, okay, call for the motion.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Intuk and
Second.
seconded by trustee Baxter. Let's have the discussion, questions, comments.
I have just one quick question.
Okay, by Vice President Malauulu.
I have a question about the first course, and I don't even know if anybody is available to answer it right now, or it'll just have to be, later. But the Socio 17 class, Introduction to Sociology of Gender, I've seen that class as an upper division class at universities, and I was just wondering, has it been taught as a lower division class, first and second year, and what other community colleges are offering that? Because that was always, the word introduction obviously has it as, a lower division class, I get that. But the sociology of gender has always been, especially, I've taken that class in women's studies, and it's always been an upper division class. So just curious to know the background on that and how, it's great that we're teaching that, but how we were able to teach that.
President Zia, we have our curriculum chair, Wendy Koenig, here, and our Dean of Academic Affairs, and they can certainly answer this question.
Fantastic. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Scott. Thank you, Trustee Malauulu. Yeah, that's a good question. This does sound like an upper division course. However, this has been approved with what's called a CID, which indicates that it is acceptable at the CSUs as a lower division, and it's also one of the options on, as we mentioned, the social justice studies. So it's a really nice fit for two of our ADTs, and it absolutely is considered a lower division course. Things have changed in the field, I think, to sort of offer more intro classes that used to be specialized. So.
That's great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Trustee Intuk?
I just want to say thank you so much. I heard positive feedback from the administrators and faculty that this is coming forward. I took a women's studies class in college, and it was really transformative and informative of some of the shared experiences people have. And I'm excited that we're doing the ADT. It's a way for students to be guaranteed a seat at admission, both UC and Cal States. And it's for less units,
Right.
And so it's a great opportunity that we're continuing to expand that. Secondly, I think on this agenda item too is the welding and the career technical education. I know that's something that I've heard numerous times from the community that we want our vocational programs back. And it's really wonderful for us to be able to say that we're doing that. And we're doing that in a collaborative way with industry participation. And it's exciting times to know that this is some of the work we're doing. So I just want to thank you in your curriculum chair role for helping evaluate and fast track and get these key classes back and going. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Intug. You are going to really like our January board reports. So if you like the CTE stuff, we'll keep it coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I why don't you hang on there? I think it's a very great point that you bring up, Trustee Intuk, and I want to commend Dr. Scott and our academic senate for working on this, and the rest of our team and leadership. Can someone elaborate on the expansion and like the direct correlation with industry, and what are some of the things that we've done more, better, different? I see the sheet metal, the changes there. If you guys can touch on those and help me understand and the public, that would be fantastic.
President Zia, Gene Carbonaro, the Dean of CTE, is in the audience, and I know that he might be the best person to speak to this.
Lucky for you, Gene, you're here. You get to come and
Thank you.
answer.
Hi, thank you. We've been working quite a few months with a lot of the different trades areas, and we've had a lot of industry advisory meetings. And I think we started in May, and we've gone through this past month, and I think we've had about 5 or 6 industry meetings, and you're going to see a lot of curriculum come through in the next 3 months. I know Wendy's helped me out and has moved a lot of this forward. So we're in the process. You're going to start seeing a lot of things for our new advanced manufacturing program, our advanced transportation, automotive technology, electrical. So we're revamping all the courses. We're revamping all the programs. We're moving everything through. So I think what you're seeing tonight is the first few classes coming through, and I think we have probably 10 or 15 more classes tomorrow on the course eval meeting. Things are going through the ADG committee, and the programs are moving through. So we're very, very excited for a fall of 19 relaunch of the trades. And we're hoping with our industry partners and with all the new curriculum the faculty have been writing, that we're going to have a major impact in the area on and helping the port, helping the city of Long Beach, and providing these jobs that are out there for our students, and just giving them the opportunity to get these new high-paying skilled jobs, skilled labor jobs. So we're very excited. And the faculty have been working very, very hard over the last 6 or 8 months.
So Jean, can you, for the benefit of the board and also the members of the public, because we do get quite a bit of questions and inquiry in this regarding the CTEs, can you explain what the process is as far as adopting new courses or new programs, and how you work with industry, the advisory council that you were just mentioning, and then the time frame that we could be, I think you mentioned fall of 2019, but typically what's the progression of what we can expect to see, and just the process a little bit as it relates to this item?
Yeah, so the process is that what we did was the faculty got together, and a lot of the curriculum was old curriculum. Mm-hmm. And what we did was we decided, we got together with the industry partners. And the good thing is we have a great partner on campus, the workforce development people, Melissa Infosimo. She has outstanding contacts in the community. So she along with the faculty, were able to get a lot of industry partners together around the table, and the faculty presented the curriculum the way they thought it was going to be moving forward, and they gave us their feedback. So we spent a few months just meeting with advisory people, getting the feel for what is needed out there in the community, and what the industry is looking for. And then the process just started, and it is a process, because we have to not only go through our local processes, but we have the regional consortium that we have to meet with, and that's my part. I'm pushing that part of it through the region. The faculty are pushing it through the college. So we're hoping, with what we're doing with the regional consortium, working with the advisory members, getting those industry partners on board, and just getting through this process. It's over a year-long process, so it takes a while to get everything done. But I think what we wanted to do was make sure we had good curriculum. It all starts with good curriculum, and make sure that the courses are well written, make sure the objectives are correct, that what we're teaching them is what the industry wants. And I think we kind of got away from that a little bit. And I think the great thing is everything that we're putting together now is what the industry has told us what they want. So I think we streamline. You're going to see a lot of the curriculum. If you've been here a while, you know the curriculum. You're going to see streamlined, and you're going to see students be able to get in and out and get to different parts into the workplace. So they can get these little certificates and move on, or they can stay and get their degrees and come back and get specialized certificates. So we're doing stackable certificates. We're doing AS degrees, all the different types of things that the industry says that they want from us. And I think what you're going to start seeing is the moving away from like high unit degrees, 50 units, 40 units, students being here 5 years, 6 years, never really obtaining anything. And you're going to start seeing more of these 30 units get out and get employed and get a job, and then maybe come back and get some more specialized training to kind of move up in the career. So I think that's what we're excited about. We're presenting you're going to start seeing some really good curriculum in the next few months here, and then I think in the fall of 19 with a nice big kickoff campaign and kind of redevelop CT website. We're kind of working on everything, and we have a plan, and hopefully it's fall of 19 is when that plan takes place. So we're pretty excited.
And can you name a couple of your or the highlights of your industry partners that you work with? Who are some of those industry partners that you work with?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Who are some of the industry partners you work with?
Well, we are working. We have for the auto. I've been to all the meetings, so it's been kind of overwhelming. But we have a very exclusive industry partner, which I don't think I want to share right now because we haven't finalized it yet, and maybe it'll be a little premature. But I'm very excited about our advanced transportation industry partner. I would just let you know they're kind of a competitor to Tesla. but I think we're going to have a great relationship with them. We've been working with the City of Long Beach. We've been working with the Port of Long Beach. So we've had a lot of our advisory members and people who have been on the committees have been from the local communities. I know my department head, Scott Frazier, knows these people a lot better than I do, and he'll point out people and say, oh, this is a good one. This is a good person to have. So I don't know all of the names of these people off the top of my head, but I do know we're very fortunate to have a lot of good companies in Long Beach who have come to us and are very excited. Our last advisory meeting we had was for advanced manufacturing, and that went over so well, and we had about 27 industry partners from companies all over, and they were so excited about what we were doing and the curriculum we shared with them, and they were just like, this is exactly what we want. So I'm very excited, and I'll hope to maybe do a presentation and give you a little bit more detail, maybe at the next meeting or an upcoming meeting where I can give you a little bit, maybe a nice PowerPoint and kind of explain our direction. And I wasn't prepared tonight to do that.
You did a great job.
But I will do that. I promise I'll come back more prepared.
Yeah. We're very excited about what you guys are creating, what the faculty is creating with the curriculum. And we're certainly looking forward to seeing what you have and also the process that leads to selecting these partners and what we can do to support you as board members with our contacts and all our relationships, because we're here for you. If anybody else, yes, Trustee Ntuk.
I just wanted to ask, are the programs will be at both campuses? Are they primarily at the PCC campus?
Most of all the trades are at the Pacific Coast campus. Okay. But that's not to say we're not doing anything else with the other CT programs. So my focus has been when I started, because I've been here 36 years as a faculty member, but only about 10 months as a dean, although it seems like about 5 years, but it's only been about 10 months. And I've been spending a lot of my time with the trades, but it's not like I'm neglecting the other parts. We have some really exciting things coming with culinary, and we have some exciting things coming with COS. I think maybe there was a mention about the computer cyber program tonight, and we have another great cloud program coming with Amazon Web Services, and that's going to be a great collaboration. And I know some of the other areas like food and nutrition and fashion design and merchandising, we're working on their curriculum. So we got some really cool stuff coming up, and the trades are mostly at PCC.
Great. Last question. I know Wendy's the chair of the curriculum committee, but how does this parlay with the academic senate, or what's the next step within the academic senate's role?
The Academic Senate is the governing body for curriculum, but in this case, in Long Beach City College case, we give that purview to the curriculum committee. So once the curriculum committee approves all these courses and certificates and degrees, then they get sent directly to the board. So there's no need for us, the Senate, to approve it again. So we rely on them to do that work for us.
But then it'll just come straight to the board once it's finally...
From the curriculum committee, it comes to the board, yes.
Thank you.
So it sounds like it's delegated authority, correct? Okay. All right. If no one has any further comments, questions, Dr. Scott, did you want to add anything? Because I know this is a big deal for us, and unless you have any.
Thank you, President Zia. I would just like to congratulate Gene Carbonaro. He's done a fabulous, fabulous job. I can't believe the amount of work that's been done in 10 months, and I'm sure you feel like you've been in this job for 5 years. But you've just done a fabulous job, and the faculty have done a fabulous job, and they're having extra meetings of the curriculum committee just to get some of this curriculum through. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, everybody is working extra hard, and I just couldn't be more grateful. We have fabulous leadership, Jorge, Wendy, and Michelle. It's just been great, and thanks, Gene.
Awesome. All eyes on CTE. Yes, Trustee Otto.
Yeah, just a point, and that is that, you know, in my mind, the answer to the enrollment dilemma is quality programs that people want because they know that there are jobs at the end of them. Obviously, we do lots of academic things, but I've heard great things about everything that's going on, and you don't look 5 years older, but it's very exciting because I remember not that long ago when we were, due to financial circumstances, having to eliminate some programs. The main reason was because we didn't have the relationships with the business community, with the trades, and I see that that's the foundation, and it's a lot of work and to get that and get it right, and that's the main way that you grow enrollment, is by having people say, I want to do that because I know that that's going to get me a job and what it is. And if it's just like, well, I've always wanted to take an interior design class, that's different. So congratulations. It's exciting.
Great. Let's call for the vote. Madam Secretary?
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
A resounding aye.
Uduak Joe Intuck.
Aye.
Doug Otto. And Sunny Zia.
Aye. Okay, we will now move on to item 6.2, new modified and activated programs of study. This is recommended action that the Board of Trustee approve the programs of study as submitted. These programs of study, which include new modified and inactivated degrees and certificates, were created to meet Title V and industry requirements, respond to advisory committee recommendations, and or to facilitate transfer. The programs of study were developed and are modified and improved by their respective college departments and schools. Documentation has been reviewed by the Associate Degree General Education Subcommittee and approved by the Committee on Curriculum and Instruction. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Intuck and Trustee Baxter, second. Any questions, comments, discussion? Yes.
I just want to say
Trustee
this is a great movement on the IGETC. When I was a student 20 years ago, I did the IGETC and never got recognized for it. So I don't know if I'm eligible.
We can
once this
reverse
goes
transfer
through,
you.
But I just wanted to say thanks. That it's nice to get this, and I know it's going to boost our completion numbers.
It will. Yes,
that we
hugely.
were not doing this in the past, and it's going to help us move up and have more student success. So I'm really excited about that. Thank you.
And just for the benefit of the public, the IGETC stands for Intersegmental General Education Transfer Curriculum. I just wanted to also commend staff and Dr. Scott. I know you and your team and Dr. Superintendent President Dr. Romali. You are very humble and you have quiet power. But if you could just explain a little bit about what this entails and how much this will benefit the district and the enrollment ability, because we're on this absolute hands-on deck focus about enrollment, increasing enrollment, and if you could just connect the dots for the board and the public on how this would support our community, also support our district in increasing on our enrollment, and what value this will add, that would be fantastic before we take a vote.
Sure. These two general education patterns, the CSU GE and the IGETC, which you did name properly, they will provide our students certificates, which they can then use for whatever purpose they choose. And there isn't any confusion with these with financial aid, where when students come in and they say, I want to get a degree in whatever, or a certificate in something, once they've achieved that, then they lose their financial aid until they re-sign up for a different goal. So with these, people don't come into the college and say, I'm here for a certificate in IGETC. They usually don't even know that it exists. So these could potentially be auto-awarded to our students. And we could, and like I said in my original comments, 923 of them would have been awarded if we had done this last year. And that would very easily have meant that we weren't 71 out of 72 incompletions. Other colleges have been giving these away for a long time, and we have not, and I think that we just need to do what we should be doing. And if students have a certificate and they don't, for whatever reason, end up completing, it does give them a certificate that they can put on a resume, and it would be helpful to them. Getting these done also is a big stepping stone for them to transfer. And so as we look at Promise 2.0, these are the classes that students will take in order to go to CSU and get their guaranteed admission. So having this be on everybody's radar and it be a goal for us is critical for our students. And I don't know if Wendy or Michelle have any additional comments.
That's fantastic, Dr. Scott. I am very excited about this, and that's why I wanted to pause I know we typically don't really stop on these particular items, but I think this is tremendous what we're doing, and I would submit to the board that they would agree. I don't want to speak on behalf of the board, but this is really substantial and really great work that our team is doing that will have tangible impact on the district and on our students getting career and college ready. So I want to commend you. If there's anybody else who wants to comment, if there are none, let's call for the question, call for the vote. Madam Secretary?
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak Joe Intuck.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
Sunny Zia.
Aye. Okay, item 7.1, child care fee increase effective November 1, 2018. Recommended action is that the Board of Trustees approve the proposed fee increase for the Child Care Center effective November 1, 2018 as submitted. The proposed fee increase will make us compliant with the California Department of Education daily reimbursement rates as identified in the chart below. Our tuition rates need to match or be higher than the current CDE reimbursement rate. It has also been determined that these rates meet the current Los Angeles County market rates for child care services. This is the chart. I'm not going to go over all the fees in the chart, but I do want to ask, well, first, do we have a motion for this item?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Otto, second by Trustee Intuck. For Vice President Scott, Dr. Scott, if you could just explain this item and why there's an increase, and just a little bit about our Child Development Center and the impacts there, and I'd really appreciate it, similar to what you explained to me.
Okay,
earlier.
yes, I was certainly will. And we also have in the audience Stacy Smith-Clark, our manager for one of our child development centers, and she can come up and give more explanation if I can't do that. Firstly, we do have subsidized care at our child development centers. 65% of our families at PCC have subsidized child care. At LAC, 55% have subsidized child care. So when the state raises the amount that they're going to give us, then that does allow us more money for our programs. But on the negative side, then we have to raise the rates for the families who are unsubsidized, because we have to charge the same amount as we are reimbursed. There really isn't any choice for us. So that is the situation, and we are still, our charges are still less than our two biggest competitors, so we're still reasonably priced for extraordinarily good childcare. We have very low ratios of children to instructors, but this isn't something that we have a choice about. Whenever this happens periodically, every 6 months, when they raise the subsidy rates, which does give us more money, but then we do have to raise the rates for unsubsidized families.
Okay, and if you could just touch on how many families are receive subsidies and percentages. Is it already there and I'm missing it?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
it's 65% of the families who go to the PCC Child Care Center
65%.
are subsidized. 55% of the families at LAC are subsidized.
Okay, and what is the threshold for, like, is it based on income level?
Yes. For a single person, it's less than 50,000, and I don't know the other rates. I would have to have Stacy Smith-Clark come up and answer that question for family. Thank you, Stacy.
While she's walking up, one of the boards that I serve on, I'm on the Early Childhood Education Board of the YMCA. And we, the majority of our population is subsidized families too. And I can tell you that the rates that LBCC is charging are, very competitive in comparison to what the care for the children being offered and the program and the facility.
Right.
I mean, it's just outstanding. The board that I serve on manages 5 of the preschools in the greater Long Beach area. And I mean, when we look at our financials and by comparison to this, we have a lot more subsidized families. But this is, you know, a very competitive program, public program. So I think you're doing a great job. And, you know, it's unfortunate that fees have to increase, but we are not the ones who set that.
Correct.
You know, we actually have to abide by what's set. So our families are also being impacted too. And the communities that we serve tend to be lower income. So there's a significant difference, and yet the product, the outcome is greater.
Thank you so much. Good evening. So as Dr. Scott said, 65% of our families at PCC, 55% of our families at LAC. The highest threshold, it basically goes by how many adults in the family and then how many children they have. But for a two-parent family, if they were making less than $65,000, they would qualify for some types of state subsidy. We're currently receiving $770,000 in subsidy, and it looks like that will be increased. So we'll be able to help more families within the next coming year. But as we said, unfortunately, we have to raise our rates for tuition paying families to match.
Thank you, Stacy. I wanted to just put this out there for consideration. I know we had the state legislature members of the state legislature's office get a tour of the facility. I think it would be great if the board members can get a tour and see how we can better support. At least for myself, I can speak for myself. I like to learn a little bit more. One of my friends in the community was telling me that they're fundraising for the center, so I wasn't clear about the need. So I want to be mindful of what we can do to better support you guys. And perhaps we can get a report later, but just wanted to put that out there, that there is definitely interest in perhaps coming for a visit. We have some scholarship recipients that work there as well. So it's a very wonderful thing that we have. And I believe we're the only district, is that right? Or one of the few that has two, correct?
Probably true.
Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. Is there anybody else who would like to make a comment or have any other points to make? If not, thank you, Stacy. We'll go ahead and take a vote.
Thank you. Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Uduak Joe Intuck. Doug Otto. Aye. Sunny Zia.
Aye. Okay, we are going to move on to item 7.2, new board policy and new administrative regulation 4029, units to contact hours. This is the first reading. This is new board policy that, again, units to contact hours is submitted for informational purposes and do not require board action. And the policy and administrative regulations are required by the California Community College's Chancellor's Office and will be submitted with the signed AA 1851 annual credit course and program certification memo. In accordance with established practices, the board policy and administrative regulation have been distributed for review to the President's Leadership Council. The changes are being recommended as a result of our ongoing review to ensure compliance with current education and legal codes and accreditation standards. If no one has questions, this is just a first reading and there's no action necessary. We'll move on to item 8.1, Academic Senate.
Madam President?
Oh, yes.
Can I ask that we move the item 3.1 before the board reports? I know that some folks were traveling tonight, and I think we're going to run out of time to have.
That was, if you wanted to do that, the prudent time would have been at 2.12, and no, we're going to reserve that until after 8.5.
Can I make a motion to that effect?
No, you can. We've already passed that item, 2.12. Item 8.1, Academic Senate President. Go ahead and present your report.
Thank you, President Sia. I'll make mine really brief. I do want to thank and commend Wendy and Michelle. They are a very good team in getting all the curriculum moving forward, and we'll be bringing more items. And Dr. Scott covered a lot of the activities that I was going to mention, but one that she forgot is that I want to acknowledge the work by counseling faculty Jose Gutierrez, who Last week, led a lot of seminars for Undocumented Student Week. So seminars, events serving our DACA students to make them sure that they're welcome here at Long Beach City College. Thank you.
Thank you, Academic Senate President. Moving on to item 8.2, Classified Senate President Annie Engel.
Thank you, Trustee Zia. I'm excited to announce that over the past several months, Classified has worked really hard to try and get some kind of a documentation that kind of shows the support of the district and maybe some processes and how we get Classified involved. And after a lot of cooperation between everybody, between all the members of the Classified Senate, had feedback from Classified Management, President Romali, VP James Moran, Kristen and Caroline, the directors of HR, and a lot of help from the College Planning Committee, a lot of feedback. We came up with a great document, and it's called the Classified Senate Participatory Governance Support Statement. And it formalizes the level of commitment and support to our classified professionals in participating in shared governance. And it also clearly defines a process to follow which should ease management's concerns. So we're excited that's behind us. We're doing the last couple, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and then it's going to be sent out to management, and we hope for a smooth process. So that is it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Item 8.3, Board of Trustees. I know Vice President Malauulu, you had a presentation. Do we have the presentation up? Would you like to go first? Can we get that up there?
If she's ready. The images that I sent you? Yes, I think I texted them. Do you need a little bit more time? Okay.
Do you want to give your report while they're pulling it up, or do you want me to call on somebody else?
Yeah, maybe somebody else, and then I'll go
Trustee
last.
Baxter?
Yes, thank you, President Zia. Two things I want to bring up because my report will be short, too. First is I have distributed to the dais a flyer on the upcoming Helping Homeless LBCC Students fundraiser. If it's on Sunday, November 4th, from 4 to 6, lovely flyer. Those in the audience who would like a flyer, come up and get them because I had extras run off. And this supports our program of helping students. And it's amazing, after being on this committee for 5 years, more and more students are coming forward, whether or not we have more and more homeless students or whether or not they feel more comfortable in coming forward. And so our raising funds is very, very important. We have a number of community donors who are very generous, and we're very appreciative of that. But when you could tell the community, the people on campus and people in the community come to your fundraisers, it makes a significant difference in people's eyes. So I would encourage all of you out there to come to our fundraiser. Vivian is going to show me how to tweet this out to my Twitter following, and I know some of you are following me, so then you'll get a chance to look at this. But anyway, student drew up the flyer. It's the event is in Naples at a beautiful home. Because Naples parking is difficult, we're going to have a van, college van, drive people to the venue. It's going to be a wonderful event Sunday, November 4th, from 4 to 6 for a mere $45. So what an opportunity for you. Secondly, I wanted to explain, for those who don't know why I'm in a wheelchair, on August 23rd, I had hip replacement surgery. And unfortunately, and I'm telling people this because this is something that can happen to anyone, my femur fractured either during or directly after the surgery, where they make you get up so you don't have a blood clot. And so I had to have a second surgery on that same hip. I have a lovely scar to set the bone back and to put in a new prosthesis. And so I will be in a wheelchair another 3 weeks, and then I'm hoping to be walking. And I just want to thank people. I've gotten lots of cards and lots of texts and emails wishing me well, but also a lot of people wondering why I'm in a wheelchair, and that's the reason. And that's the reason I haven't been going to too many activities, because it's very difficult to get around sometimes. And so I will be glad to be back on my 2 feet and running around. Thank you, President Zia.
Thank you, Trustee Baxter. Vice President Malauulu, are you ready for your report? Okay, great. Do you mind if I move on to other trustees? Trustee Otto, would you like to give your report?
Actually, I'm not going to give a report tonight because I'm hoping before I have to get on an airplane before too long that we'll get to agenda item 3.1.
Okay. Trustee Intuk, do you have a report?
I have quite a few things I'd like to share, but I'd also like to get to agenda item 3.1, so I'll wait.
Sure. Okay, I guess it's my turn until we pull up Trustee Malauulu's report. I just wanted to thank staff for their phenomenal work. We've been very busy. We had the Hall of Fame, so I know Vice President Dr. Scott, you have been great, and you stepped up. It was quite a night, quite an evening. We had 4 inductees. It was so fabulous. In case you guys hadn't had a chance to attend, I have to say it was very moving for me. In particular, one, that Trustee Baxter, you were there despite, being in the recovery mode. But it's just, the pride and the joy that people take in this district, in the college. And one gentleman that really touched my heart in particular, and they had the VIP luncheon. His name is Steve Bowles, and he got up there and he said, I owe my life to this college, and that's a profound thing to say. It's fantastic. I was very moved by that. He said he met his best friend here, his first love here. He's a commander of Seal Beach Police Department. It was very moving to see. Every time I go to these events, the Hall of Fame, it's just amazing to see the dedication. The other one I wanted to really, it was really touching to see just the level of commitment and the number of people that he's touched was John Philpa. I was kind of surprised that this was, he wasn't already inducted in the Hall of Fame. That was fantastic to see. And, you see these videos. If you get a chance to go on the Hall of Fame, I don't know, are they broadcasted? They will be broadcasted. Just take a moment, and it really gives you insight to how amazing our graduates and our alumni are, and what kind of impact they've made in the community, and continue to make, and how proud and honored they are of being a graduate of Long Beach City College. I also had the pleasure of presenting them with the award, and it was very emotional, I must say. It was quite something. I know that Dr. Scott, you reported on quite a bit of meetings and events that we both went to, but I'm not going to echo that, but I'm excited that we had our Promise 2.0 event. It was incredibly successful. For those of you who hadn't had a chance, the Long Beach Business Journal did a great article that came out today, is my understanding. And it really, I think it distilled what the distinction is on what we mean by guaranteed transition. So I was really, in particular, happy to see that it's no longer 60 units, it's 45, but it was great to see it codified in an article that was broadcasted to the public, that is easily understood. It could be it's easy to understand. And then I also wanted to commend staff, and I know that they're working on the rollout and the mechanics of it, so I'm sure we're going to hear more about it. And then Maritime Center for Excellence, I believe, Dr. Scott, is that something that it's on its way, the Maritime Center for Excellence?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Just on the Maritime Center for Excellence, is that something that we're working on in identifying where the location is going to be? And what if you could just speak to that, that would be fantastic.
Sure. There's various components to that, and I don't have it in front of me, but it does include a boot camp for the students at Cabrillo High School. It will also include an advisory committee that we're putting together for supply chain management.
Okay.
It's got It's got a component of not-for-credit training for the public to come in. And we expect the center to be at the PCC campus. We're still identifying a location, but it may be very close to workforce development or in that area.
Okay, great. Yeah, I know it was in the making, but and I wanted to just kind of get a time frame on that. That's fantastic. So I'm assuming we're going to get a report soon on that front. But I also wanted to echo Trustee Baxter's comments. Trustee Baxter and I have been partners since 2015 on our homeless student task force, and the foundation has that associate group that we support, and I think it's a nominal fee to ask for $45 to support our students. And I know, Trustee Baxter, you may be able to provide more detail on how many students we've helped so far, but I think it's been quite substantial.
Well, it's hundreds, because in addition to putting students in rental housing, we also provide students with emergency gift cards for gasoline, groceries, and things like that. We also bus passes, and so I would say hundreds of students have been helped in these past years.
Yeah, and we're looking at working to increase that effort. So this is just something that I wanted to really acknowledge your efforts, Trustee Baxter, and your partnership in the task force. That we're taking it to the next level. And for those of you who haven't seen the campus community magazine, is this what we call it, or newsletter? If you look, I just wanted to give a huge shout out. I think it's on the first or second page. It's also in the email that we get. There's our Promise 2.0. For those of you who haven't seen this picture, I also wanted to give a big shout out, and their picture is here, to the Southwest Regional Carpenters, and speaking of supporting our homeless students, they had found out that we are doing a food drive at the college and at the district, and I got a call from them. They volunteered, and they brought us over 88 boxes, huge boxes of non-perishable food and support resources for our students. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to them and really thank them. And with that, I think I'm going to stop there. There's so many great things happening, but I want to give an opportunity to Vice President Malauulu and other trustees, because after this, then we're going to move on to 3.1, and there will be no more trustee reports. Go ahead, Vice President Malauulu.
Thank you. I'll try to be quick because I know that we do have people who have to catch a flight. So first of all, I just want to let you guys know, Myra, I apologize. I actually sent the slides to a different Myra, and I sent you a screenshot of her response to me. She's also an educator. She said thank you, and she gives you her best regards when I told her I sent it to the wrong Myra. I'd like to start really quickly, just to recap, this month, I did attend the executive meeting of the foundation, and it was a great experience to see the foundation and to look at the financials and to talk to some of the members on that body. I'd never been to one of those meetings, but as vice president of the board, I am the foundation liaison, so it was a really neat experience. I also attended the College Promise 2.0 event, the social sciences open house last Friday. I got there about halfway through, closer toward the end, and there were still a couple of hundred people. Friday night at a community college, that says a lot. It was great. It was very well attended, even that late in the day, that late in the week. I was at homecoming this past week, and I would like to commend the foundation for the great job they did of hosting the barbecue there at the end. It was really neat. I also want to express my appreciation for the student body and the ASB for their effort in the homecoming festivities, the crowning, the court. I understand that we are going through some changes, and I understand that particular aspect of our campus is experiencing some growing pains, and I know that things will improve. And I've been to every homecoming the last few years, and I've seen some great halftime shows and some great participation, and I look forward to having the same in the future, and I appreciate the changes that are happening. So let this be a learning year, and let upcoming future homecomings be what we're accustomed to and what we deserve. And before I get to the last part of my report, I just want to congratulate Mr. Alex Castro, who we named at the beginning of the meeting for his retirement. I know Alex Castro very well. He was a custodian who cleaned the classroom that I taught in when I was a professor, when I taught here. And I got to know him very well because I spent lots of late night hours here, editing, correcting student work, working on the Viking newspaper. So I got to know him really well. And I will express my congratulations to him, and I hope he has a very long, very healthy retirement. And he is also a pastor, so we've had some opportunities of prayer together. So he's a very dear friend of mine, and I'm going to miss him. And in closing, I had an opportunity to represent LBCC at the HACU conference, and that's the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. And it was a great experience. It was two weekends ago, and I was able to meet with other trustees from other community colleges who experienced the same frustration that we do with the current administration and the cutback in services for our students and funding. So I'm going to close my trustee report by displaying 3 slides, and I'm just going to leave them right there for you. Go ahead, Myra, hit number 1. So you guys can check this out for yourself. 41% of all undergraduate students in California are of Latino Hispanic descent. That's 1,341,561 students. Next slide. Latinos, Hispanics are the largest racial demographic group attending college in California. In there it's got all the other breakdowns of all the other ethnicities. Now remember, this was at a Hispanic conference, but they were very, very good about including other demographics and the diversity at this conference. I was very surprised. I expected it to be all Latinos, and it wasn't. So it was really good information. And the last one, I'm gonna leave this one right there for you. For every 1 Latino tenured faculty member, there are 282 Latino students, and the ratio for whites, for every 1 Caucasian tenured faculty member, there are 32 students. So we've got a lot of work to do, and they chose California over every other state in the country to highlight with this information. So I felt really fortunate to be able to bring that back to you. And that's it. Have a great rest of your month.
Vice President Malauulu, can I ask a question? Did they speak about what are the plans and what are some of the recommendations to address this ratio at the conference?
Actually, they did. I attended one workshop which talked about recruiting. It was particularly recruiting professors, and it was actually something that Kathy Scott is working on as far as a teacher track and an education model at the community college. And it also talked about partnering, which we already do, with our local universities in recruiting instructors, upon their graduation. So that was a great workshop, and I do have some handouts from there. And another thing, too, that they're also working on is trying to implement, again, very similar to College Promise, is partnerships with industry professionals and getting industry professionals in the trades that are, of minority descent who come and teach the classes. So that would certainly boost, our CTE classes but they did address that, yes.
That would be great, and it would be wonderful to get a report on the conference as a whole, perhaps at a different board meeting. I'm assuming both Trustee Intuk and Otto don't want to give a report, correct? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to move on to item 8.4, board travel. There is no expenditures that we were going to approve this time around. Item 8.5, trustee committees. We do have the facilities committee that we have formed just for the benefit of the public. I wanted to express that Trustee Intuk and I are on that committee, and we are looking at two different dates. It looks like it may be in January that we will convene, and that would be fully publicized, and the members of the public will hear about it. I also failed to mention this, so this is a very exciting development on this front, and just in general at the board, we are opening it up even more in the sake of transparency. Staff has done a tremendous job. What you don't know is that you're being live streamed tonight, and for those of you at home, now you can have the ability to see the board meetings live and at no cost to the district, with just something very nominal, I believe, for the license fee, if I'm not mistaken. So that should be exciting for all of you. Item 3.1, and we will now move to item 3.1, revised board policy and administrative regulation 2001, board travel. This is an item, it's an action item. The recommended action is that the Board of Trustees approve the revised board policy 2001, board travel as submitted. And the revised board policy 2001, board travel, was presented for the first reading at the board meeting of September 12, 2018. Revised administrative regulation 2001, board travel submitted for informational purposes only and does not require board action. Discussions between board members regarding the board's travel expenses took place at the meeting of August 21, 2018. Board President Zia requested that the travel budget be revised to include an expense threshold of $3,300 for each board member per fiscal year. We first got the information August 21, and then we approved this item on September 12th for $3,300 per fiscal year per board member. On September 12th. This is the second reading. Do I have a motion? Is there a motion?
Well, so moved.
Is there a second? Anybody? Second? So we can have a discussion? I'll go ahead and second the motion so that we can have a discussion. Is there a problem, trustees? Do you not want to go ahead and approve what you already approved? I want to open it up to discussion. Trustee Intuk, I'm sorry, was it Trustee Intuk or Otto? Did you have to take off soon? So I wanted to make sure you get heard before you have to leave.
Sure, great.
I didn't know you had to leave.
Yeah. I don't support this policy change. I don't think that it's necessary. I think that it flies in the face of what we're supposed to do when we are accredited. It says that we are supposed to go to conferences and do things. I realize that that it's important to be prudent in the way that we travel, and there's a very simple way to do that, and that is, rather than call out a limit per year on for each trustee and the amount of money that can be spent, which the faculty doesn't do that, the staff doesn't do that. It's a very inflexible way of doing this. I think the simple way to do this, and I've actually talked this over with our superintendent president, is just say that all board travel must be pre-approved by the superintendent president. And she's got her finger on the pulse of what's going on, where we are financially, where we need things. What I'm worried about is, for example, if Vivian wants to go to a particular conference because she's trying to do things at the state level, but she can't because she bumped up against something that she'd gone to a conference in Georgia or something like that. But it would be really good, and it would be something that she's working on. It would be unfortunate if that wasn't possible. But the superintendent president's in the best position, I think, to make those decisions. So I don't support this. What I would rather see is the policy changed to say, go to the second sentence that says payment or reimbursement of trustee travel expenses will follow the district's procedures for staff. That's fine. But then I would eliminate the next sentence, which puts a limit on the amount that a trustee can spend a year, and replace it with the sentence that says, all board travel must be pre-approved by the superintendent president. It's flexible. It doesn't send a message to accreditors that we're trying to limit what trustees may need to do as elected officials to do the job that they do. And so that's what my recommendation is.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Otto. Other trustees? Trustee
President
Baxter.
Zia, after thinking about this, because I have a lot of time on my hands, sitting at home, I agree with Trustee Otto. There are some people who get involved at the statewide and the national level, which causes them to attend conferences back east and obviously in the state. And although I am not one to go to a lot of conferences, I don't think that I should take the right from somebody else. And I understand we need to watch the budget. I'm a very fiscally conservative person, and I think that we can rely on Superintendent President Romali to watch the budget and watch what's going on, and especially if we can tell her ahead of time and tell Secretary Hahn what conferences we'll be going to. She will have a good idea how much is in the budget.
Okay, let me just make sure I understand. You both want, one, we've already voted for this. This is the second time we're voting for this. This is the second reading. You both want Superintendent President Dr. Romali to manage the expenditure without any threshold? What is she measuring against?
Yeah, I guess what I'm recommending, and there's a motion on the floor, but I would defeat this as a board policy. I would say that there should be a new board policy put forward. The new board policy would eliminate the sentence that says there will be a limit of $3,300 per year assigned to each board member to cover all associated travel and conference costs, and itemized expenditures will be just that much. We can certainly do that. And then we'll bring it back for a first reading and a second reading. I think it's a smart thing to do. In my experience, and I see trustees that are successful in California and throughout the United States, and a lot of the experiences that they have in meeting other trustees is very informative. That largely happens at conferences. The effective trusteeship program pretty much has to be done at these conferences, and I'm not sure that that could be accomplished in a meaningful way. We've talked about, gee, maybe we could do this training on campus. I think that's much more expensive and complicated and difficult to do. So I would rather defeat this proposal. It's up for a vote today, and then resubmit it as I suggest amended.
Trustee Otto, need I remind you that you were the trustee that has the most expenditures for travel, $37,000 over 4 years out of anybody in this board. And we're asking staff to cut 25% of expenditures. The $3,300 threshold was brought up by Trustee Intuck on August 21st. That would be 25% cut to our budget. I don't think it's prudent. I'm surprised that both of you, Trustee Baxter, you were the one who supported it when it was first brought up that we should have threshold, because frankly, I think, the discussion was that a lot of these are redundant trainings. There's no justifications. Half the time it's used as, socializing. And, I think it's absolutely against what we're preaching to the staff, that we want them to cut. We have a deficit. We have a deficit in this district that we keep pounding and we keep hitting staff with, that they have to maintain fiscal prudence. And here we are, giving ourselves no threshold, no limitation of what we can spend, and yet we're telling staff, you need to do this. I don't think that's appropriate. That's not leading by example. And we had this discussion. I'm surprised to hear that there's even qualms on the second reading, folks. We said we're going to take 25% hit, just like everybody else. Trustee Intuck sat here and did a calculation and came up with $3,300. I don't understand what the issue is here. And before I move on to any other trustee, I'm going to ask you, Trustee Otto, who on this board have you spoken to about this item? I'm asking you if you've spoken to more than one board member on this board.
No.
Who have you talked to on this item already?
I'm not here to be interrogated by you.
No,
but
I'm
I would
just
like
asking
to
you
respond to what it is that you
because
said,
I want to know if I have
'cause
the
I'm gonna
Brown
do
Act.
that as well. Well, and
Excuse me, I haven't recognized you. Please follow Robert's Rules of Order, just like you have advised me in the past, Trustee Otto. I am asking you because I want to know if there has been a violation of the Brown Act and if there has been a serial communication on this.
No,
Okay, so you haven't had a conversation with more than one board member on this.
Listen, I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
Okay.
I responded to your question. I think you're wrong because this is exactly what you say we need, and that's a break on expenses. And the best person to provide that break is our superintendent.
No, because you will
Don't interrupt me.
No.
Don't interrupt me.
I
interrupt me. I have the floor now.
I will let you talk.
The superintendent president is the person that can say, no, we don't need that. She has a better sense of all this, and that's a better break than some arbitrary number.
Okay, Trustee Otto, I have seen you personally get down in the weeds and bully staff in this district, and I will not allow you to do that with our superintendent president, but putting the onus, excuse me, do not interrupt, I'm still talking. Putting the onus on the superintendent president. We have made a decision as a board, because if we don't have clear-cut thresholds, guess what? Corners can be cut. Corners can be cut. You are already doing it. You're already trying to push the limit when we're asking faculty. How come faculty have to give up all their ability to go on travel and for professional development? How come they have to take a, excuse me, I'm talking. Yeah, there you have it. We have our union president over in the crowd. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to practice what you preach, or do you want to just put an arbitrary requirement on the superintendent president and then have it behind closed doors handled? The best disinfectant here is sunshining it, and why not? Why can't we see the travel of the Board of Trustees? Till this day, this board has not seen the travel expenditures of the board members, and I think it's absolutely prudent for us to do that. Vice President, you have had your ability to talk, Trustee Otto. I will not recognize you. I will move on to Vice President Malauulu.
Thank you. So, a couple of things. One, I was not here at the August meeting when this vote happened. That was the meeting where I had 2 flight delays and was stuck due to 1, weather, and 2, mechanical failure. So I missed that. That was one vote that I missed that I did want to be here for. And not having been here for that or for the discussion, this is my first opportunity to actually address this board policy change, this proposed change. So while I do support the spirit of the change, I do think it is absolutely important that we lead by example, and I do think that we should, if we impose a change or a cut in staff travel, I do believe that the board should also follow suit. And that's not just for our governing body, but for any governing body. If any governing body is requiring their subordinates or their staff to cut anything, they should also do the same. So in philosophy, I'm 100% behind it. The trouble that I'm having, and I'm conflicted, again, because I support the spirit of this change, in practice, it was a hardship for me because I'm looking at the $3,300 that was imposed. I'm in Atlanta. I'm supposed to be going to a conference in Sacramento in January, which I had previously told our board secretary that I would not be attending because I'm watching my travel money. But then President Zia told me that I should attend because if I am going to be the board president next year, as is the rotation as it would be, then I would need to attend a board chair training at that conference in January. So I'm, okay, so there goes some of my travel money. These conferences are at hotels that, you know, you're looking at $200 a night, airfare. I actually stayed with my family. I flew into Atlanta on Saturday night. I took the cheapest flight out. I don't like to travel during the day because I just don't like to do that. I prefer at night where I could try to sleep. I took the cheapest flight out. I stayed in the conference hotel Saturday. I stayed with my family in Loganville, an hour away, on Sunday, rented a car out of my own pocket. I paid for it out of my own money. Drove an hour and then got stuck in traffic Monday morning coming back into Atlanta because I don't know Atlanta traffic patterns, and it was horrible. And then there was a Hurricane Michael that hit. So it was just an awful experience with that regard. I ended up driving back on Tuesday at 4 o'clock in the morning because I was afraid of missing the summit on Tuesday, and stayed at a Ramada that I paid for out of my own pocket again, all because of this $3,300 budget. Now, and again, I want to say it again and again, I agree with the spirit of this, and I agree that we should. And also, I'm in favor of the sun shining. I support President Zia's effort to sunshine the travel costs for the past few years. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that. But we have been elected by the public to oversee this college, and we have been elected and entrusted by the public to lead and govern. And part of that responsibility includes getting out in the community, getting out there, learning, bringing back things. How else are we supposed to know if we don't interact and fellowship with other bodies? And if we're going to do that on our own dime, then that needs to be disclosed too. But if there was a board policy already in place for travel, then the amount, you know, that I don't think that should be tampered with to such an extreme where I've got to rent a car, stay at a different hotel that was far from the original hotel because I couldn't get a hotel in Atlanta. So it was a lot for me to deal with. And then now in January, I do have to go to this conference I wasn't planning on going to if I'm going to be board chair. So I'm telling you right now, no matter how much I tried to rent a car and stay at a different hotel in Atlanta, I'm going to go over budget. Following the duties of the...
Can I call for the question?
No,
No,
there hasn't been, excuse me.
You don't have to be recognized to call for the question. And look,
No,
we've got Marlene and I have to be on an airplane in a very
well,
short
perhaps you
period of
shouldn't
time.
schedule flights on a board meeting.
Well, and perhaps
This
what
is
you
our
ought to
job,
do is move
Trustee
this to the
Otto.
end
This
of
is
the
not a...
agenda. You know, which looked to me
you
like
knew
an
there was a
effort
board
to-
meeting. You knew there was a board meeting.
I call the question.
No, I'm not finished understanding the points that is raised, and I'm not going to call for the question. So
And
I want to make
in
sure I understand you, Vice. Go ahead.
If I can just conclude, I also don't understand why item 3.1 was moved to the end of the agenda. That doesn't make sense to me. 3.1, I don't know why, I didn't understand what was happening. I think it's terribly unfair to members who are traveling, whether you agree with them or not, whether you like them or not, whether you get along with them or not. Changing item 3.1 to the end of the agenda, I think it's wrong. You've got people who are going to miss flights, and guess what? If they have to reschedule the flights, it's going to take more money out of our budget. And we're here to talk about a travel policy that's, needing us to be, fiscally responsible. Them missing their flights because this item was moved to the end of the agenda is going to cost more money and cost us more in the long run because you're going to have to reschedule or get on a different flight.
Yeah.
So why was it changed to 3.1?
Vice President Malauulu, if anybody else had any qualms about reordering of the agenda, that the appropriate time to bring that concern was at 2.12. The board meeting, it's because it was the chair's prerogative. I wanted to hear it last after we had heard everyone, every other report. It wasn't intended. The board meeting would have still gone on, and they would have still had to leave. Either way, I don't understand what you're requesting. Are you suggesting that we eliminate or increase the threshold, or are you suggesting that we go ahead and put the onus on the superintendent president to manage some arbitrary number?
I'd like to call for the question also, and let's vote on what we have presented here.
Okay.
And then we'll move on
Trustee
to the agenda.
Intuk, did you, I know you wanted to say a few words, but if you don't mind.
No, I did, but I want to recognize Robert's Rules of Order taking precedent that call a question has been called.
Okay. Let's go ahead and vote on the motion. on the floor.
Virginia Baxter,
Nay.
Vivian Malauulu,
Nay.
Uduak Joe Intuck,
Nay.
Doug Otto,
Nay.
Sunny Zia,
Aye. Okay, we're going to now move on to item 9 point. Let's see. 1, trustees may request or recommend future agenda items or reports, but only with the consensus of the board. Is there any items that we would like to add to the board? Items in the future? Anybody?
No.
Item 10.1, public comments on non-agenda items. A total of 3 minutes will be allotted to each speaker with a maximum of 20 minutes to each subject, unless extended by the board president. Do we have any public comments?
there are no requests.
Okay. You'd like to request a public comment? I'm sorry, is this for who?
For myself.
You need to fill out a card.
Can I have,
Are you?
Can I have a card there?
I'm kidding. Go ahead. You can speak on public item comments.
I wanted to go back to my report. It's been about 6 weeks since our last meeting, and I attended a number of events. Most notably, I wanted to point out the Puente program had a family night that was quite successful. It's a student success program that's increased students going to UCs. And there's a couple other items I want to talk about, but most importantly, on September 26th, we had one of our students were killed, Guy Alford III. And he was a current student, former football player, team captain, respected and well-loved student athlete here on campus. And it was very disappointing, the unfortunate tragedy that happened to him that about 5 minutes from my house. But Dr. Scott and I were able to attend his funeral and talk to his family. And his final wish was to get his degree. And I think we get overlook some of the importance that we make in students' lives here at Long Beach City College. And I did put in a request for an honorary degree for him, but the administration went through and evaluated his credentials, and he actually earned his AA degree. So at the homecoming game this past Saturday, I was able to meet with his father and give him 2 copies of his degree. And it was really a powerful moment to have that conversation and give that document over, because it meant a lot. And it was like at the funeral, he was buried in his jersey. His Long Beach City College jersey. And it's students come here with dreams and hopes, and they want to succeed. And sometimes all they're going to do in life is come here. And what we provide in education and experience, we give them. They can go on and do great things just coming to Long Beach City College. And sometimes it's the end point for some folks. I think we really need to keep in mind why we're here and who we're here to serve. And I just wanted to recognize Guy Alford III, commend him on his degree, share his service and his experience here at Long Beach City College. And I just, in closing, was disappointed that 3.1 was put at the end of the agenda. I felt like we were put in a place between a rock and a hard place unnecessarily, and I was inclined to support the item, but I didn't like the process. So that's my 3 minutes of non-agendized public
Thank you,
comment.
Trustee Intuk. And I, too, was disappointed in your ability to go form over substance, and out of spite voted down and multiple people. And let it be known for the record that it was a 4-1. The only person that voted for being fiscally prudent and having a dollar threshold that is consistent with our faculty and staff was myself. We don't have a second closed session. Item 11.1, further discussion on the closed session. There is none needed. Item 12.1, the next regular meeting of the Board of Trustees will be held on November 13, 2018 at the Liberal Arts Campus, Building T, room 1100, closed session at 4 p.m. and open session at 5 p.m. We will now adjourn.
See, that's called a threat, Sonny.